Welcome to the end of November. I am going to share every single thing that I made, spent, and saved and invested, and then we're gonna chat about our goals for finishing the year strong. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Sandra. I am an occupational therapist here in Denver, Colorado, and I'm on a mission to pay off 6 figures of student loan debt and invest $100,000 before I turn 30 in 2029. As part of that, I am showing what slow but aggressive financial progress is like, and in doing that, I'm being super transparent with my finances every single week, every single month, whatever it is. These monthly resets are an opportunity for me to go into my spending, kind of explain how we spend money intentionally. I'm a huge fan of value-based spending, and it is what I share and want everybody to learn because it makes your life so much fuller, and also sharing how small goals can help make big progress. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at November. I'm gonna share my budget page for November and we'll just chat through some things. If you like this budget, it is linked down below. Self-promo, gotta do it. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, I think it's helpful to start with income and then we'll go through each of our categories. So in November, I made a total of $4,092.97 after taxes and deductions. I carry health insurance for both of us, and then I also invest in my 401k before taxes, as well as save towards an HSA before taxes. So this is my take-home pay for the month that doesn't include those contributions or deductions. Jake always gives $5,000 a month to our household expenses, and that is the portion of his income that he's comfortable sharing on the internet. And then my work contributes $200 per month towards my debt. Quite honestly, there will come a time where my debt payment is less than $200 a month, and when that time comes, I'm gonna have to have a serious sit down with myself and say, Sandra, does it make sense to put any of your money towards this debt? And that'll be that. I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, that brings our total monthly income to $9,292.97. Let's just go in order here. My debt is my student loan debt, and one of my payments hasn't posted, but I did put $2,270 to my debt, and that should bring my balance to right around $75,000. This is my biggest financial goal right now. I am working on paying this debt down to a more reasonable number, and then I'll probably shift focus and invest a little more while still paying off the debt. But this is what we're focused on. My debt is about 6.5% interest rate at the highest. I have a couple loans that are 5.5% interest. I invested $583 to my Roth IRA. That is what I need to invest in 2025 to max it out. I actually just learned that it's going up next year. I know that this is old news to some of you, but the amount that you can invest into a Roth IRA is gonna go up. So I'm gonna have to adjust my budget for next year, which is a bummer because I already filmed that video. Okay, fixed expenses. This is where we'll go line by line. Our mortgage is the same every single month, $3,046. This covers our mortgage, our property insurance, and then we do have a couple $100 of PMI, which should be coming off soon. We spent $133.83 on our last bill statement, which is like middle of the month to middle of the month. We were out of town. If you're not familiar, I actually average out our expenses every single month. So we just put aside $187 per month towards gas and power. And then in the summer, we build up a little bucket and then we spend that down in the winter. Sometimes it's been really warm here in Colorado, and it looks like it's gonna be a really warm winter, so this will probably be a cheaper winter because we won't be spending as much on heating the house. But yeah, $187 is where we're at. Water-wise, we spent $68.85 on our water bill, which is less than the $80 we budget, so we'll just bucket a little bit there. I've spoken about these buckets. I switched from being a single person with single finances to being a combined finance person in the middle of the year, and then I did a terrible job going back and like backtracking combined finances. So what would usually happen is if you saved $187 and only spent $133, then you'd have like $54 that would roll over into a bucket here and calculate. But my buckets are all messed up from the year. I am on a mission to fix it, but it's happening slowly. It just is what it is. Trash is always $40. This is a flat fixed expense. Internet is always $84, so that's a flat fixed expense. Our car insurance is a flat fixed expense, and then we switched phones plans, so our new is $94, which isn't much more expensive, and we have a much better phone plan than before. In total, we assigned $3,742.38 to our fixed expenses, and we spent $3,681.36 in November. Now for the fun stuff. For our groceries, we assign $1,000 a month for groceries. This is a very controversial thing, and I post a lot about it on TikTok as well as like in YouTube shorts if you watch those. Our grocery budget is $1,000 a month because when I look at the details of what would make me feel rich and what would make me feel really fulfilled in life, it is going to a grocery store and not caring about the price, just buying what I want to eat. So when I started making big girl moolah, because I was in grad school and undergrad for 7 years and I was living off of $1,000 a month, so I recognized that this is an insane amount of money, but I also make good enough money that I can afford this because it's a priority to me. When I started making those big girl bucks, the first thing I did was loosen up my grocery budget so that I could start moving towards living that life. When I pay off my debt, I'm upping this again. But with that, we don't spend heavily in other areas because other areas aren't priorities for making us feel rich and full. This is just what we spend on groceries. In fact, last month we did a very good job. We only spent $878.65. We also only spent $99.16 eating out. Let's have a look at where we ate out and what we did. I will say we got back from Japan at the beginning of the month, and eating out in Japan is so cheap relative to like the value that you get per dollar in the States. So we got back from Japan, then we went out to dinner like a week later, and we actually had a punch card at a burger joint near us. Clearly we eat there frequently because we had maxed out, so we got one free burger and we still spent $28.90 on a burger and a Coke. We were a little burnt out on eating out for the most part, which is probably for the best. We spent $11.50 on matchas. We did get takeout Chinese food for $40.10, and then we spent $18.66 on Raising Cane's chicken, which was also a disappointment. So I think we're like pretty done eating out. I want to shift focus to like more food-based experiences and not just eating to eat. Usually what happens when we eat out is whatever we had planned on the menu just feels like too much work, and so we go get something instead. That's lovely to be able to do and all, but the value just isn't there for us, and the quality of food that we're eating isn't there either. So I think what we're gonna do is just get some more high quality frozen food, like pizza or whatever. I know it's not the most high quality, but still going to get a burger, or like Chinese food. So having a frozen pizza in the fridge for $10 for both of us seems pretty good bang for buck for those moments, because realistically those are gonna happen. I am not stronger than my menu. I'm not a brave gal, I'll admit it, okay? Sometimes I don't wanna eat what I had planned. I am a woman in 2025 and I don't have to do that. Anyways, next we have our cars. We spent $245.29 on gas. I would say our gas bill is definitely higher, but it's all going to work for the most part, so whatever. Household, this one might be a little bit off. In fact, I know it's at least $10 off because our Kindle subscription just gets charged as an Amazon expense, and I'm really bad at sorting out which one of those is a Kindle subscription. So regardless, $252.86 on household. This is everything from like paper towels, things we need to fix things around the house, things that we need for maintenance of the house, bug spray, whatever. Most of these expenses are on Amazon. I am giving Jeff Bezos more power. I'm not strong. I told you. I do not have any of Jake's expenses tracked. Quite honestly, some of these household expenses might be Jake expenses. We'll let it ride. I personally, though, spent $49.16, and this was on, I got dinner with a friend and I got coffee with a friend. This I just put on the wrong credit card, so I have to send it to Jake. That's why it says OJ. Again, $30 for my dinner at a crappy brewery. My chicken sandwich was literally like black. It was hilarious, actually. So this is one of those examples, I think you might agree, of where I really value my groceries and spend $1,000 on that, but I don't really value spending money on myself. I didn't buy any clothes this month. I didn't spend money on activities other than like 2 times hanging out with a friend. Other things that I did to socialize this month, I went for a hike. I go to run club every single Tuesday night with a couple friends. It's not like a formal run club. It's just like our friends run together. I had a couple friends over and we made coffees here. So those are all things that I have done to socialize. Like, I'm not living a very boring life. I had too many plans. I honestly needed to say no more this month, but I only spent $50. That's pretty fun. We had friends over for dinner and we made a really nice stew. And then subscriptions were a little bit expensive this month at $101.34. And the reason that it was so expensive is because our PlayStation for a year, and that hit in this month, and that's like $80. We play Call of Duty twice a week. That's our fun time together. It's great. I'm very good. So we don't pay for like TV subscriptions, but you will catch us playing video games together. And then the other subscriptions that we have is Kindle Unlimited for $12.53 a month, as well as, what's the other one? Oh, duh, Spotify. We have the Duo plan, so it's like $17 for 2 separate accounts. Okay. Savings, yeah! My emergency fund is fully funded. It's at $10,000. I just let the interest in that account ride because I want it to be a little bit bigger, but $10,000 is enough right now while I'm paying off my debt. I'm trying to practice not having too much cash on hand. This is another example of, maybe my buckets aren't really up to snuff because it says it's negative, but I've been saving $21 a month towards gifts. So I saved $21 a month towards gifts. This whole bucket is about to get spent down for Christmas, and the $138.33 of spending that I did from this was for Christmas. I save $100 a month towards travel. Again, this isn't negative. Let me just open my bank account app and I'll tell you. The interest that I make on this account just goes into a concert savings bin, which I have titled TS Savings, as in Taylor Swift savings, because I made a video about starting this account to save for concerts, and that was a little bit of rage bait. Maybe not rage bait, but I knew that like men would be upset that I had debt and was saving for a Taylor Swift concert, and they were. And I got a bunch of followers from it, so thanks for being here. Because we can use our money responsibly and buy things we want if we're planning ahead, and I'm planning years ahead. So I have $75 of interest that's accrued in this account over like a year and a half now. For credit card fees, I have $135 saved. Most of those hit in the spring. Travel, I have $100.54 saved. For my ski pass, I have $150 saved. I already paid for my ski pass for this year, so this is going to go towards the ski pass for next year. Car maintenance, I have $685 saved. Knock on wood, that just keeps going up. For gifts, I have $262 saved. Of that, I've spent $138, so we're down to like 40. I haven't transferred that out. So that's where we're at for our savings. So let's take a look at the overall breakdown. This month I made $9,292.97, with $427-ish being carried over in cash from last month. There were some inaccuracies with the cash left over. So if you're thinking about starting a budget, the new year is the best time to do this, and then you can take advantage of all of the features of my budgeting tool. Or I guess if you just like didn't have random expenses. I put $2,270 to debt, $583 to investments. I assigned $5,942 to be spent between my fixed and variable expenses, and I actually spent $5,446.15. I personally saved $220 towards my sinking funds. So that is November. In December, I want to pay my student loan that I'm currently working on to below $10,000. It has a balance of about $11,500 right now. Have a 4-figure debt payoff on that one, that'd be phenomenal. That's my biggest goal. That's what we're working on, so follow along to see if I can do it.